Hey everyone, this is Razador's Pokemon Shenanigans, and in today's episode of Invasive Species, we mark the departure of our starters in favor of our first electric type on the show. Not only that, but Plusle's base stats total in at just over 400, making it, stat-wise, the best we've used in this particular series up to this point. Our speed and special attack are our best stats, with 95 speed and 85 special attack respectively. Our special defense isn't too bad either. 60 base HP is okay, while our physical stats leave a little more to be desired. That's fine, we're modest anyway, since we'll be making the most of our special attacks in this run. However, that does pose a bit of an early game problem. See the issue? Not only do we not have an attacking move until level 10, but the move we get is Quick Attack. Not the best move out there, but I'll certainly take it over something like Tackle. And Gen 3 Tackle has 35 power and 95 accuracy, in case you're curious. So this is also going to be our first run where we sink a ton of time into trying to get by Brock, but I don't think it's going to be that bad, honestly. When it comes to big grinds like this, there's no challenge to it, so I just tune out, vibe, and watch YouTubers I enjoy while getting her done. And honestly, our coverage isn't amazing either. Thunderbolt we can buy from the Celadon Game Corner later on. But besides that and stuff like Return, the only other coverage we have that deals damage is Steel in the form of Iron Tail. Not exactly a winner. But hey, at least we can learn Seismic Toss from a move tutor later on if we absolutely have to. Now you saw Helping Hand on our level up list, an absolute waste of a move slot in this series. And if this were not Invasive Species, that would just be another set of moves to deplete our power points to gain access to Struggle. But since this is Invasive Species, where we also give our Pokemon a single egg move, we only have two to pick from this time, but having Wish as one of those choices is pretty awesome. Substitute's pretty useful too, but it won't help against Brock, and we can just get it from a move tutor later on if we really want to. By having Wish on our list, not only do we not have to bother with Helping Hand at all, which not only reduces the amount of power points needed to unlock Struggle, something we will almost certainly need for grinding, but Wish can also keep us healthy. Wish takes a turn to activate after using it, but on the follow-up turn, it restores half of your maximum health. There's a lot of strategy and usage of this move, and I'm pretty pumped. If this is your first video, or if you're just in need of a refresher, just know that here in Invasive Species, that not only do we add a single egg move, but we also run our Pokemon on max IVs. I choose the Hidden Power, Natural Gift style, but it's not once per battle. I choose the Nature, Modest in Plusle's case, and if the Pokemon has more than one ability, I'll pick the better one. Plusle's ability is useless in this run, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So yeah, we'll be pretty great later on, but our beginnings are quite humble. In order to level up, we have to be able to deal damage. To deal damage before we learn Quick Attack, we'll need to expend our power points. To do that, we need to track down a Pokemon who can't fight back. In this case, it's either Metapod or Kakuna in Viridian Forest. Those two combined appear at a 15% encounter rate, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 10% for Kakuna, 5% for Metapod, and those numbers are reversed in Leaf Green. Now, Kakuna and Metapod will run out of hardened power points before we run out of ours, but we can actually take advantage of this. In addition to Growl, we have Thunder Wave, and while those two have Shed Skin, an ability that has a 30% chance to remove status afflictions every turn, there's also the possibility of them losing their turn to Paralysis. That's a 25% chance. Anytime that happens, we can keep slipping in Growls well after their attack has been dropped by the maximum of 6 stages. It is a little tedious, but again, not difficult by any means. Not only that, but once we start getting hit by Struggle, we can use Wish to stay healthy. With how many times we'll be getting hit by Struggle, we're bound to be on the receiving end of a critical hit at some point. The point being that we can expend far more than 30 power points in a single encounter, so while it's slow, it could be a lot slower. If we were doing something like trying to deplete Magikarp's splash power points, we'd have to run away and find a second Cocoon, but we don't have to do that. If we do have any power points left after the battle, it'll be because Kakuna KOs itself through Struggle recoil damage. Power point depletion, and we gain a bit of experience points from the deal. Yeah, I was proud of that one. And as you can see, we are already trying Brock at level 12. The strategy here is Quick Attack, hope for crits, drop Geodude's attack with Growl, stay healthy with Wish, and try our dangest to take out Onix with Struggle. I didn't figure that we'd make it very far into this fight at this level, but I was stunned at Plusle's performance here. Yeah, sure, Quick Attack isn't dealing much damage, especially after Defense Curl, but I think we have a winning strategy here. Our already mediocre attack being lowered by Modest Nature is really coming into play here. However, this is the only major battle in which we have to worry about this little issue. After 1 or 2 defense curls, we're dealing 1 damage, so those timely critical hits, we need them now more than ever. Wish keeps us healthy. This is exactly why Substitute would not be useful in this fight. And we hit level 13, and we were talking about Helping Hand earlier. No, we don't want to learn that, thank you. But yeah, against Onix, we don't last too long due to a Rock Tomb critical hit. We weren't going to win that attempt anyway. I decided to try this out a couple of times just to see how far we can get into the Onix fight, and like I said before, very surprised at Plusle's performance here, in spite of that attack penalty from Modest Nature. And yeah, I could be an even higher level and just come in with Struggle, but I wanted to try something a little fun, working some strategy into this attempt. And I mean, between this and going through all of our PowerPoints to unlock Struggle just to fail, I think this is the better play. Because, at least in these attempts, stuff's happening. It's kind of exciting to do, too, honestly. But we do need to be a bit stronger, so I come back at level 17, and on our very first try, this attempt right here happens. You can see just how much more damage we're dealing to Geodude, and I'm thinking we're going to go and save our Growls for Onix, because we want to get Geodude out of the picture. Being on the consistent offensive means Geodude will potentially have less turns for Defense Curl. And once Onix comes out, once we're slower than it, it'll stop going for Rock Tomb, which doesn't matter all that much because we do still have Quick Attack, we have some uses of Wish left, and we are eventually going to be using Struggle. But by coming in with Quick Attack, whittling down Geodude, and having Wish to stay healthy, we actually defeat Brock at level 17. How long do you think that took us to get by Brock? Let me know in the comments what you think. But hey, smooth sailing for a little while here. We're going to get Spark here before long, which will make things speed right along here. And yes, we have 2 hours and 13 minutes on our clock right now. And you can see just how much having Wish really helped with that. I mean, yeah, it's still 2 hours and 13 minutes, but that could have been way worse. Would have been way worse without our egg move. So as we make our way to Cerulean City, we're going to grab the rare candy behind the house like we always do because, hey, it's always nice to have. And we're making a beeline straight for Misty with Spark. I mean, she's going to be completely free. So much so that I'm just going to speed by her fight here. Staryu is a one-shot. We take a little bit of damage, but Starmie is a two-shot with Spark. Yes, very amazing. Moving on. Can't deny that it's therapeutic, though, after how long it took to get by Brock. Okay, fine, a 3-shot because Misty heals, but yeah, doesn't really matter. Very easy fight. And you saw that we learned Mega Punch and Mega Kick. That's from the move tutors just outside of Mount Moon. Perfect timing too, because here comes the second rival fight. Third, technically, we did the optional one. Spark, Pidgeotto, yeah, get out of here. Out comes Rattata, it's a one-shot with Spark, no surprise there. We'll go ahead and use Spark to one-shot Abra as well. We'll have Mega Punch and Mega Kick both for Bulbasaur. Now, we're not going to have Mega Punch and Mega Kick for too long, especially not Mega Punch, because we can get Secret Power behind the trainer, where you would normally need Cut to get the TM. And as we start the Rival 3 fight, you'll see that we have Fake Tears as well, be very useful for fighting Ivysaur. And yeah, this fight's also extremely easy. The only thing we even have to remotely worry about is Ivysaur. And as we bulldoze through Raticate and Kadabra, and we're exchanging blows with Ivysaur here, you can see that we get put to sleep, and we're asleep for quite a while. We'll even endure a critical hit from Ivysaur. Unless it crit us multiple times, as in every time, there really was no way that Ivysaur could defeat us. But you can see why I chose Bulbasaur for our rival starter, because we're super effective against Squirtle just by being water type. And once Charmander becomes Charizard, we'll be super effective once we get Thunderbolt, so that didn't make any sense to me. And hey, check it out, we are 3 hours and 29 minutes before Lieutenant Surge. Plusle's really been trucking along ever since getting by Brock. As Voltorb comes out, we'll go for Sonic Boom. We get hit by Screech, not a big deal. We can set up Wish, we get hit by Sonic Boom, which is actually perfect because once Voltorb goes out, Pikachu comes out, goes down, we're healed to full by the time Raichu's here. And I figure as Raichu comes out, we'll go for Fake Tears to drop its special defense. It goes for Double Team, that's fine. Spark deals pretty awesome damage, all things considered. And we're both paralyzed. However, Surge heals with a full heal and we miss. Things are looking dicey. We'll go for Wish. Quick Attack brings us to 23. But we connect and defeat Lieutenant Surge. I gotta say, he gave us a pretty good fight in this run. Now, for Rock Tunnel, I could go get Seismic Toss. But it turns out I'm actually not going to need it because en route to Rock Tunnel, one of my Meowths did pick up TM10 for Hidden Power. And you're going to see why that came in so handy as we get ready to fight Giovanni for the first time below the Celadon game corner. And yeah, I have Farfetch'd for Cut and Fly this time. Thought I'd change things up a little bit. All I gotta do is just trade Spearow to some kid in Viridian City, and you get it. Anyway, time to fight Giovanni. And now, Giovanni's Onix would normally be a good matchup for us, but with our Hidden Power, it ain't so. Ground typing is something that Plusle desperately needs coverage for, so let me know which Hidden type power you thought we took. Rhyhorn's not a problem either, and Kangaskhan's Fake Out does a fair bit of damage, so much so that once she starts going for Tail Whips, I'm gonna go for Wish, go for Fake Tears, drop that special defense, and even better, a timely Mega Punch miss from Kangaskhan, which would have almost certainly taken us out or left us with a sliver. I knew Giovanni's first two would be easy, but I didn't think we'd actually beat him on the first try, because Kangaskhan's a beast. That's gonna be a fun run here on Invasive Species. Can't wait to run Kangaskhan, although that's a little ways off. Now that we have Fly, we're gonna go back to Lavender Tower, fight our rival, and clear up the first half of the story. Here's your last chance to guess on what type of hidden power we took. Oh yeah, and we're gonna not even talk about this fight because, I mean, we have perfect moves for this entire team. And not only that, but Rival 4 is usually pretty easy anyway because you can just skip over him, go to the game corner, fight Giovanni, which makes more sense anyway because you want the Sylph Scope to be able to ascend the tower. And as Ivysaur comes out, obviously we're faster and Hidden Power is super effective. Yep, I went with Ice. Now, I was thinking about Water, actually, because Water would have been great for Giovanni's gym, pretty much clear across the board. And then Grass could have been useful too, but I'm like, nah, I think Ice is going to be a little bit more useful for us. You know what Ice-type Hidden Power is also useful against? The Ghost Marowak, especially in this instance here, where Ghost Marowak I thought would take a couple of tries, but apparently it's not interested in fighting. I guess being in the afterlife caused her to lose her mojo. And yeah, Ice-type Hidden Power makes us super effective against our rival starter, but as I said before, Blastoise and Charizard, we get same type attack bonus from what we're super effective with. Once our rival has Venusaur, Hidden Power is not going to be an auto win. And yes, you just saw I got 2 extra TM10 Hidden Powers just in case I want to replace it with something else for the short term. And I figure while we're at it, let's go ahead, head back to Celadon, and go ahead and grab that PowerPoint up that I forgot to get the first time around. I did get the one in the game corner. And while we are in Celadon, might as well go ahead and fight Erica because we have Ice-type Hidden Power. It's super effective against her entire team. Not going to bother with any of the trainers besides the one that's mandatory. And I have to say, I was actually kind of surprised by this. Now, Erica leads off with Victory Bell, and Hidden Power Ice does one-shot it. That's not what surprises me. That's good, though, because that thing is very dangerous. And also not surprised that it one-shots Tangela, because it has terrible special defense. Vileplume, on the other hand, survives on what I'm guessing is the lowest possible damage roll. So like I said, Ice-type Hidden Power is not going to be the be-all, end-all against our rival once he gets Venusaur, which is going to be the next required rival fight. But the rival starter is not the only reason why I chose Ice-type Hidden Power. You probably know why. And, I mean, speaking of our rival here at Silphco, it seems like we're doing a pretty handy job at beating his team's butts. I mean, Pidgeot's never going to be a problem. I absolutely love that. Not having to worry about Sand Attack for a change is so therapeutic you have no idea. Gyarados is always going to be an XP snack. Growlithe really can't do anything to us. But you know what can? We're so awesome as Plusle that we mess ourselves up. Synchronize also paralyzes us, and Alakazam can't do much to us because it only has Future Sight in this fight as an attacking move. Still, though, we are paralyzed, so Wish does keep us healthy for Venusaur, and out comes Venusaur, and we have Hidden Power. Doesn't even do half damage, and Razor Leaf... Yeah, it definitely did not need to crit us there, but just to punctuate that point, that said, all we have to do is change up our strategy against Alakazam, so we're going to speed past our second attempt here, get right back to Alakazam. As Alakazam comes up, we're going to go for Fake Tears as it's going for Calm Mind. Can't do anything about the attack buffs, but because we're dropping special defense, we don't have to worry about paralysis from Spark. And as Venusaur comes out, we'll go for Fake Tears. We have a Chesto Berry specifically for that Sleep Powder. We don't want that at all. Hidden Power still isn't a one-shot. There's Razor Leaf. Uh-oh. Oh my god, that was almost a one-shot. Oh man, that was probably a damage range too. We got very lucky there. So for Giovanni, just gonna say, this was our 8th attempt. Now, I normally don't do this. Normally, I'll show failed attempts, but you're gonna see just how lucky we got to get through this fight. Like, between the power of Nidoqueen's Body Slam and the chance to cause paralysis, and Kangaskhan's Tail Whip and Mega Punch, yeah, we lost this many times. Now, Wish is pretty great, but we haven't seen it be this monumental since our battle with Brock. But check this out, as Nidoqueen goes down, watch this. Now, Kangaskhan's Fake Out does a lot, and Kangaskhan could have gone for Mega Punch and went for Rage. Thanks to that terrible move choice, Spark paralyzing Kangaskhan, and Kangaskhan losing its turn every single time until it went down. Yeah, we're at Rhyhorn with mostly full health, but that was extremely lucky, so take my word for it that Giovanni 2 took many tries, 8 in total. So we're gonna head to Koga and battle him before we fight Sabrina, I figure. We have a new addition to our move slots here, and Fake Tears was amazing, but it's time to bust out Substitute. It immediately pays off as it blocks out Coughing's Toxic. We can go ahead and use Wish to regain the health that we lost, and then we'll proceed to one-shot Coughing with Spark. As Muck comes out, we paralyze it off of Spark, and it wastes its turn with Acid Armor. We go for Spark again, Muck goes for Sludge and destroys our Substitute, but it's just out of healing range, so we can finish it off with Spark. As Coughing number 2 comes out, we'll go ahead and set up another Substitute, and blocks Toxic again. Love to see that. The follow-up Spark takes it down. Now, as Wheezing comes out, unsurprisingly, Spark does not one-shot. It still deals great damage, and it goes for Smokescreen. That was a waste of a turn. That's fine, though. Koga can throw the fight anytime he wants to. Next up is Sabrina. Starts off great. Kadabra's a one-shot with Thunderbolt. As Mr. Mime comes out, we almost one-shot her. She goes for Calm Mind, opting Sabrina to go for a Hyper Potion. But despite the buff from Calm Mind, it's not enough to protect her from 2 follow-up Thunderbolts. Now against Venomoth, we'll go ahead and set up our Substitute. Our Substitute soaks both Psybeam and Supersonic, and we take out Venomoth with a critical Thunderbolt. Feels good to have this move. Against Alakazam, I go for Hidden Power because Synchronize can paralyze us even behind a Substitute. Good thing we have that up too, because that critical Psychic would have almost certainly one-shot us. We follow up with Thunderbolt, and that's donezo. With the first 6 badges in our possession, the only way for us to go is to Cinnabar now. Blaine has been pretty challenging in the series up to this point, and I expect that will stay the course, because although we don't have anything super effective against him, the same is also true in reverse, but his entire team does have Fire Blast, and gets the same type from it. This ain't Gen 1 Blaine. Gen 3 Blaine is a whole different beast. That said, he does lead off with Growlithe, hardly his strongest Pokemon, so it's not surprising that we one-shot it with Thunderbolt. Next up, he sends out Ponyta, who is also a one-shot with Thunderbolt. Again, not surprising. Rapidash, though, might not be. Oh, it is. Very good. Thunderbolt does not one-shot Arcanine, but we paralyze it. Doesn't lose its turn, but it misses with Fire Blast. Just outside of healing range, Blaine opts to use a full heal while I finish him off. Well, thanks, Blaine. I hyped you up for absolutely no reason. I guess you did slip back into your Gen 1 days. You can take the Gen 1er out of Gen 1, but you can't take the Gen 1 out of the Gen 1er. And now, before we do battle with Giovanni, we are going to take our little side trip over to the Savvy Isles. There's a rare candy that I like to pick up while I'm over there. And once we deal with the gang of bikers, we can grab a hidden power point up located behind a tree in which you need Cut to gain access to. If you don't get it the first time around, you can always go to Vermilion City and come back here and just get it at your leisure. And saving right in front of Giovanni, we are sub 6 hours. That's pretty good considering our time crunch against Brock here. Giovanni 2 was very difficult, so this one I'm expecting is going to take quite a few tries. Nah, just kidding, because as we set up Substitute, Rhyhorn, rather than going for Earthquake, goes for Scary Face because Gen 3 loves status, and thanks to that, Rhyhorn goes down to Hidden Power. Dugtrio also goes down to Hidden Power. Thankfully, we're faster. Next up is Nidoqueen. She's not a one-shot, not surprising, but we still deal great damage. She obviously destroys our Substitute. Now, if we're dealing this much damage to Nidoqueen, once she goes down, Nidoking is going to be a one-shot, so Giovanni can heal all he wants. I mean, come on, Giovanni. They say that even too much of something good can be bad for you. Why you gotta do Nidoqueen like that, bro? Okay, Nidoking. Excellent, we do one-shot it. That's very good because Earthquake would have almost certainly taken us out. Last up is Rhyhorn, who is also a one-shot with Hidden Power. Wow, I don't think I've ever played a game where the second Giovanni fight was harder than the gym, but that's the fun of Invasive Species. Okay, against Pidgeot, we'll set up Substitute, and then use Wish to heal our lost power points. As we go for Thunderbolt, Pidgeot slips in a quick attack, which of course has to be a critical hit. So as Rhyhorn comes out, we have all but 8 hit points as we're getting ready to fight it. Now this thing doesn't have great moves, so we can go ahead and set up our substitute here. Rhyhorn does have Takedown, which it goes for, but we tank it, even with our puny defense. Hidden Power Ice one-shots Rhyhorn, out comes Gyarados, XP snack time. Not that it matters, but you'll notice that Substitute also blocks Intimidate. That's pretty cool. Next up is Growlithe, but that's an easy one-shot with Thunderbolt. Now against Alakazam, I misclick and go for Thunderbolt. I say that because I don't want Synchronize. It goes for Psychic, not a big deal. We'll switch over to Hidden Power to take it down. So we're exposed against Venusaur, that's not great. We go for Wish, it goes for Growth. Set up Substitute, and another Growth, okay. Okay, so this time we're gonna go on the attack. Surely Venusaur will respond in kind, right? Well, apparently Venusaur hates Pokemon battles because, well, it didn't do anything to us when it very easily could have. You know, I was talking about Gen 3 Love Status earlier. I didn't think it applied for buffing itself, although I guess that makes sense too. Well, that was fun, so we're gonna go ahead and head to the Elite Four because where else are we gonna go? And I'm gonna show you where Lepidberry is. It's actually very well hidden. There are only 3 in Pokemon Fire Red, with the third one being on the 6th Sevi Isle, and of course that's post-game, which we don't do in Invasive Species. Alright, we're at the league at 6 hours, 25 minutes. Not bad. I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty confident against Lorelei as well. Don't get used to me saying that, by the way. With Dewgong down, we can set up Substitute against Cloyster, and I don't care about the Protect Chain because it goes down all the same. Next up, she sends out Slowbro, for sure one of her better Pokemon, but doesn't matter. One Thunderbolt, down it goes. Out of instinct, I equipped a Sherry Berry because of Yawn from Slowbro. I mean, Jinx can do it too. Yeah, I don't care about Lapras. There are 2 sleep moves in this fight, so Chesto Berry just kind of out of habit, but it turns out we don't actually need it. Alright, next up is Bruno, who is actually pretty dangerous for our Plusle. He has 2 Earthquake users, and his fighting types are no joke either. That said, Onix number 1 does love Rock Tomb, so we're going to have to take a big chance here and set up Substitute. We'll see if it pays off. We go for Substitute. There's Rock Tomb. Perfect. We don't have our speed dropped either, so we can use Hidden Power to take out this Onix. Onix number 2 comes out, but it has terrible health and special defense. Down it goes. Hitmonchan's next. We deal great damage with Thunderbolt, but he breaks our Substitute. We have no choice but to finish him off. We're now vulnerable for Hitmonlee. And we get pretty lucky that Mega Kick didn't crit us there with 53 health for Machamp. Yeah, not looking forward to this. Thunderbolt deals about 3/4 to Machamp. He goes for Cross Chop, and he misses. Oh, 20% chance of that. That's awesome. We needed that one. Now, speaking of things you should not get used to me saying, next up is Agatha, and the Gengar she leads off with could not be more perfect. I say that because it has Double Team, which is annoying, but because we have Substitute, it also has Toxic and Confuse Ray, so we don't have to worry about either of those. Speaking of Double Team, it goes for Double Team, and we do miss our first Thunderbolt. Our second Thunderbolt nearly one-shots Gengar, prompting Agatha to heal with a full restore. Our follow-up Thunderbolt hits, and then it misses, so we're going to switch over to Hidden Power to conserve power points. And see, that blocked Confuse Ray. That's solid. Unsurprisingly, Golbat's a one-shot with Thunderbolt. We deal 3/4 to Arbok, who responds in kind with Sludge Bomb, destroying our Substitute, so we are now vulnerable for the second Gengar. As it comes out, I go for Substitute, and the enemy Gengar goes for Sludge Bomb, which in turn breaks our Substitute. No surprise, it's a very strong move, and it gets same type from it. Next we go for Thunderbolt, and remember that Chesto Berry for Lorelei I had saved up? Yeah, when I was playing, I actually forgot that I still had it equipped, so that was some dumb luck. I love to see that. And yeah, Haunter doesn't matter. But yeah, we're making it to Lance on our very first trip through the Elite Four here. This is awesome. This is a very welcome change of pace compared to the 6 starters we were playing as. But still, Lance is a pretty tough trainer here in Fire Red Leaf Green, even with our Plusle. And now, this fight is why I took Ice-type Hidden Power, in addition to all the other benefits we've had through using it. That said, though, even with 70 base power, it's probably not going to be enough to one-shot the Dragonair or the Dragonite. We don't get same type from it. But then again, I could just being a negative Nancy. I should have played as Minun in that case. So as Gyarados comes out, Intimidate doesn't matter. We're going to go and set up Substitute because it can tank exactly 1 Dragon Rage. We'll follow up with Thunderbolt, easily able to one-shot Gyarados with that. Alright, next up is Dragonair, and wow, that's almost a one-shot, but almost isn't enough. Our substitute's gone, and we can't take out this Dragonair. You know, I was just being a pessimist, but no, we actually couldn't one-shot Dragonair. Oh, that's perfectly fine, though, because Dragonair number 2 comes out, we set up Substitute, and it just goes for Thunder Wave. And it's gonna keep doing that because, well, you know the catchphrase already. Say it in the comments. And just to prove that point, I slipped in Wish, even though it was entirely unnecessary for us to do it. Actually, I say that, but with full health as Dragonite comes out, it's actually gonna change his behavior a bit, too. Despite 4 times weakness, we don't take it out, but because of our health, it goes for Safeguard, and Lance heals, but yeah, it really doesn't matter. Man, I cannot tell you how therapeutic this fight was. After how much poor Torchic struggled with Lance, just sweeping him with Plusle like this was just awesome. It was, oh man, love it. Wow, made it to the champion on our first try. That's pretty awesome, but we're gonna have to do a bit of preparation before we fight the champion. Of course, they're going to restore power points, all that good stuff. And I figure, hey, let's go ahead and use some rare candies. We'll use a couple of them, not all of them, because we're already in the B tier for level. I was originally going to go to level 67, but with this level up to level 66 here, we now have 165 special attack, so I think we'll be alright for the fight. We'll pop a delicious elixir to restore our power points, and we are now ready to fight. Now, as usual, our rival does lead off with Pidgeot. This time around, he only has Aerial Ace as an attacking move. He does have Whirlwind, which he'll never use unless his power points somehow get depleted. But as we set up Substitute, he has Sand Attack yet again. We'll go for Wish, and yeah, really trying to slip in Sand Attacks, are you, Pidgeot? And I go for Hidden Power in hopes that our rival will switch out Pidgeot, but he doesn't. That's fine. As Rhydon comes out, we go for Ice-type Hidden Power. That's not a one-shot. This is an instance where Water-type would have been more beneficial. And thankfully we're behind that Substitute because Earthquake absolutely would have crushed us. The champion will use one full Restore on Rhydon and then let it faint. That's good because that's the biggest threat on this team. With Alakazam, you see me stall for a second. I'm like, Substitute, hope for the best. There's Reflect. Oh yeah, we're good. We go for Hidden Power, and Alakazam goes for Psychic, which obviously breaks our Substitute. We'll switch to Thunderbolt and take out the Alakazam. And now, because Gyarados loves Dragon Rage, we're going to go for Wish first, and then we'll switch into Substitute. Turns out that was the play, because that's exactly what happened. Gyarados goes for another Dragon Rage, and Reflect wears off, not that that means anything. We get healed by Wish. On the next turn, we go for Thunderbolt. Bye-bye, Gyarados. Only 2 left. As Arcanine comes out, we deal about 2/3 with Thunderbolt. It goes for Flamethrower, easily able to destroy our Substitute. It's a good thing we had that up because Arcanine could just go for Extreme Speed and end us otherwise. With Arcanine down, it's just Venusaur left. We go for Hidden Power, deal a bit under half. It goes for Growth. Next up, we go for Hidden Power Ice, and Venusaur goes for Synthesis. Well, that's fine because we have more power points of Hidden Power than it has of Synthesis. So we repeat that song and dance one more time, go for Hidden Power yet again. It goes for Growth, the Citrus Berry kicks in, removing it from full restore range, allowing us to finish off Venusaur. Well, I wasn't expecting a first try no-save Elite Four this early, but okay. I'm definitely happy with it, but man, wow, Plusle was amazing. You wouldn't think so, because Plusle nowadays is kind of one of those long-since-forgotten Pokemon, but here in Generation 3, we were able to make it shine just a bit here in Invasive Species. This gives me a chance to talk about something that you might have seen on our scoreboard as well. Oh, and because we leveled up off of Venusaur, the final Pokemon of the game, it does say level 67, but in Invasive Species, if we level up off the final Pokemon of the game, I do not count that level up, because that level up contributes precisely nothing to the run, because, I mean, the run's over, why would I? But yeah, our scoreboard's coming up here in just a sec. If a Pokemon can no-save the Elite Four, I add +1 to their rank. If they do it on the first try, however, I add +2, because, I mean, you have to give them a special reward if they're able to pull it off that well, and that's only because Bruno missed with Cross Chop. It's not like that was easy or anything. Anyway, at level 66, it says 67, but again, subtract 1 because we leveled up off the final Pokemon. Level 66, as I mentioned before the champion fight, is B tier, so that's pretty awesome. Plusle's final time is 6 hours, 44 minutes. That's also B tier. Level 66, B tier. That time, 6 hours, 44 minutes, also B tier. But you'll see it on the bottom right screen there, the prismatic color scheme on the text. Because Plusle will beat the Elite Four Gauntlet without saving on the first try, that's +2. Plusle is in the S tier. Never thought you'd see that. Well, I didn't either, but it happened. That was awesome. Oh, and it turns out that I accidentally fibbed. We have one more starter to play as, and that's Pikachu over in Pokemon Ruby. I'll see you guys there later.